So guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be making Zerbi's 4-2-3-1. If you guys do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like on this one, subscribe to the channel, and also do follow my Twitch. We are now going to be streaming over there. Starting next week, it's going to be a ton of streams, literally loads. So do come over, follow the channel, and as I said before, this can be found in the description below and also on my channel header, on my social medias. But do come over, because trust me, we're going to be streaming a lot, so it's a good place to get involved. But we're going to start off then by actually just talking about Zerbi in general, because I know a lot of people know who he is. Pretty sure a lot of people, everyone knows who he is, who watches the Premier League at least. But this guy's had a lot of experience when it comes to playing. Obviously, an attacker midfielder. He's had a range of teams he's played for and also managed. What we're going to focus on really is this point downwards, to be fair. So from Sassuolo to Shakhtar to Brighton. Now, Sassuolo was okay, but his win percentage wasn't the best, I've got to be honest. As for Shakhtar Donetsk, it was going very well, but he didn't stick out an entire season because obviously he did go to Brighton. I believe that's how it sort of breaks down. But as you can see, he's been in management for a decent amount of time before he's got his real big break out of Premier League side, and he's definitely taken advantage of that, obviously knocking out Liverpool in the Cup, having quite a good season and playing some really good football with that Brighton team. Really good manager to have. I bet Brighton fans were buzzing. But if we go down here, this is what we really want to pay attention to. You can see some of the win percentages. As I said, we're going to pay attention to this one really. The Sassuolo 120 games played, 43 won, 36 drew, and 41 lost, giving him a 35.8%. Now, it's not the best. We have got to take into account that obviously Sassuolo are by no means the favourites in that division by any account. I think on FM they're predicted to finish around 9th. So if I take that into account purely based off that, I'm not going to pretend I've got tons of knowledge on the Serie A because I don't watch loads of Italian football. But to be fair, if there's any Sassuolo fans, which there might be watching this video, how was he honestly? Because I'm just looking at a stat line. He then goes over to Shakhtar, obviously you can see there, from the 25th of May 2021. Not there for too long, to be honest. 30 games played, 20 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses, a good win percentage rate, but obviously there wasn't a ton of games, and Shakhtar are a very dominant team in that division. He then comes over to Brighton from the 18th of September 2022, and I think it's been quite a good run from him, to be fair. He's playing some good football. He seems to handle it quite well, and I think that give him a couple of years, get some signings through the door he wants. Obviously, this year he lost Trossard, but don't think he was the biggest fan anyway, so it's not really a big loss. But a very interesting player profile and also managerial profile. But now let's go over to the testing phase of this video, which you guessed it, is going to be with Sassuolo, Shakhtar, and Brighton. So, Sassuolo first, because that is the club he was first at. We're going to do it in order it just makes sense to. Obviously, these are predicted to finish around 8th or 9th, and we've come out and got a 2nd place finish. So, easily so thrilled with that. I mean, that is overachieving by no means. I mean, that is ridiculous. Champions League football in the first season with a team like Sassuolo is very impressive. 75 goals scored, only 24 conceded. Whenever I deploy a 4-2-3-1, I notice how well balanced it is. You get a nice balance between defensive play and also attacking play. You don't end up conceding loads, but also you don't concede loads, sorry, but also you score enough goals, and it's just a really balanced and consistent formation. In terms of player stats, now we are going to go and have a little look. We're going to go into the squad. Here we go to goals, and here we can see. So let's have a quick look then. They've got some decent players, I must be honest, but 39 appearances, 35 goals there from Piemonte. You've got 12 coming in for Berardi. Is that Ferrari? Don't know how you're going to say that, but 10 coming in for him, 6 coming in for Traore. I'm not even going to say that because I will butcher it. So we are noticing, obviously, we have got a little bit of a drop off from the striker who gets the goals. But that is sort of one thing with this tactic. The 4-player does do a lot of the goal scoring, which is fine. But I would just advise that you have got depth in that position. Make sure you've got a couple of players, obviously, or just a player that can cover him in case he gets injured, obviously, banned, etc. But in terms of assists, we're going to have 13 coming out from Traore. We've got Forsdeck coming in there. I believe that's how you say that name, with 7, 6. Mulder coming in with 6, 5 coming in for Lopez there, 5 for Saeed. I think that's how you say that. Loads of assists coming in from a very varied amount of players. One thing I noticed for Sassuolo, by the way, I don't know if it's going to show it now, but if we go to out, this is mid-season, by the way. Look at the amount of players that just randomly decided to leave. So I think that could be, that is why they're missing from the stat page. I was going to say the goals don't add up here, but because mid-season they accepted deals, whether that be pre-contract or, selling in the likes of Raspadori, you know, we can't see their stats, but hopefully we can have a quick glimpse if we go onto here. No, we can't. Oh, there we can. Get a rough idea. So that's just overall games though, isn't it? 75 and 18 goals. But that's very annoying that all of them have decided to leave. But little heads up for anyone that's doing a Sassuolo save. Make sure you pay attention to that. But obviously we do just holiday simulate these, so there was no way of really knowing. But still a very, very good overall performance, I'd argue. A 1.97 goals per game. Possibly could be a little bit higher, but obviously enough to get us a second place finish, which is more than enough. Defensive wise, very, very solid, 0.63, so super impressed with that. Still scoring over a goal compared to what we're conceding, which is my aim with any tactic I make. And like I said, the second place finish is enough. We can ignore the Italian Cup because I was not even expecting to get into the top 6. Then hop over to Shakhtar Donetsk, obviously the second team that we did mention at that sort of start of the video, the team he come to from Sassuolo. He wasn't here for long, I believe possibly just a season it was, to be clear with that, before he went to Brighton. We managed to win this quite comfortably, not the best display in the Europa competitions, that being the Champions League and the Europa League, although it was quite a tough tie against Arsenal. However, we did score 97 goals in the division and only conceded 11. In terms of the data hub, we'll do that first. This is really impressive now because the defence was super rock solid. 0.37 conceded per game, which is one of the lowest I think we've ever probably got it to. And over 3 goals a game, sitting at 3.23. In terms of some of the squad stats, we've got 38 goals from Traore. We've got Sheved coming in with 19. We've got 11 coming in for Sikan. Bondarenko coming in with that. Bondarenko, I believe, with 11 goals. You got Peterac coming in with 6. A lot more contributions now because we are seeing more players. Because obviously the previous save, all of them decided to leave. So unfortunately we couldn't see the stats, but this is always a good sign. We now have 14 coming in from Konoplia. We've got Sudakov coming in with 10. 10 coming in from Sheved. We've got Bondarenko coming in with 9. 7 coming in for Sikan. Zubkov coming in with 6. A lot of different players contributing in all areas of the field. And if I have butchered any of the pronunciations, do feel free to comment in the description or in the comments below, because I don't want to pronounce people's names wrong. But obviously, when you don't watch this division all the time, or at all in my case, you don't really know the correct pronunciation. So be sure to let me know, especially if you're a fan of this side and it annoys you. I won't take any offence and I'll make sure they get said correctly next time. But obviously, for a new person to this team that is only now seeing the squad really, you know, it can be quite challenging. But if you guys are enjoying the video so far anyway, be sure to leave a like on it and do subscribe to the channel. And as I mentioned before, you can follow me on all of my social medias. They are in the description. And also now my Twitch, which is going to be sort of debuting from next week. There's going to be a lot of streams coming up. And I know a lot of you guys have already gone over and followed. So if you haven't and you're not one of those people, be sure to do it. It's completely free. But overall, a good second test in my opinion. Quite a good set of results. I mean, Sassuolo we overachieved with. This one we were expected to win, and I'm glad that we have done in such a dominant division. Would have been better to, you know, a little bit more better in the Europa competitions, but the Champions League was always going to be a tough ask, and unfortunately we got quite a tough draw in Arsenal in a round of 16. And then we have the real shocker, the one which really did surprise me, because this is obviously his current side, Brighton, and I like Brighton. I think they've got a great team in the game and in real life, but no way should they be winning the Premier League, and we have done it literally on goal difference by 7 goals. We're going to look over the schedule on this one because it just shows you there were so many close games that we managed to ice out. We managed to win. We managed to get results against good teams. A couple of slip-ups here and there, but that is to be expected with a side like Brighton. But we just put on a real good showing. We scored 92 goals. Not the best when it comes to ranking in goals conceded. Actually conceding 32, which is still quite solid with this Brighton team. We got all the way to the Carabao Cup final, where unfortunately we did bail out to Leicester City. And not the best display in the FA Cup, but we've managed to win the Premier League. I don't know if you guys are taking that in, but that is an absolute ridiculous accomplishment with no signings with this Brighton side. And we're going to go and have a look now. So we're going to go into the data hub first. General performance, 2.42 goals per game, which is very impressive, and managing to still concede under a goal a game in the Premier League with a team that is predicted, I think, is at 8th or 9th on here with Brighton Hove Albion, but still a very good result. And to be just winning it alone would have been good, but it's good to see under the goal mark again, because you guys probably know by now I am a big fan of the defensive side of the game. So when we do concede under a goal a game, that is always good to see. In terms of the squad stats then, goals, we're going to have 44 coming in for Danny Welbeck. We're going to have McAllister coming in with 14. Danny Welbeck, by the way, if you can get him on the free, you need a cheap striker, something like that. He can score goals. Trust me, he can bury goals. I've seen it happen time and time again. I've signed him on personal saves. I've signed him all over the shop. If you give him the chances, he can score goals. We've got Lewis Dunk coming in with 12, 9 for Solly March. Webster coming in with 8. 6 for Undav Casiado, sorry, coming in with 5. 5 coming in for Adam Lallana. In terms of assists, we've got 22 for McAllister, 15 for Casiado. Solly March coming in for 15, 12 coming in there. 7 from Lamptey. Pastel Gloss coming in with 6. 6 coming in for Lallana. But a lot of mixed assisters coming in. We've got several players actually contributing going forward, which is always good to see. And I'm sure if we go over the schedule, which we are going to do quickly now, we can go through some of these games. So as you can see, it was a very, very positive start in a lot of these games, especially in the Premier League. We unfortunately do slip up to Tottenham and Brentford, but we are beating teams, you know, which could have been challenging, like Newcastle, for example. We got a 2-0 result there against Liverpool, 2-2 there against West Ham, but, you know, it wasn't flawless, and I want to show you guys this because, you know, I'm surprised as much as you are that we managed to actually win this Premier League. This tactic is really good, but I didn't realise it was this good. It really is something special. Obviously, we got the odd thumping here and there. I mean, Everton 5-0, that's a very comfortable win there. 3-2 win over Chelsea. We've got Manchester United. That was quite a big game there, obviously in the Cup, where we went through on pens. A draw against Arsenal, a loss to Newcastle. A very dramatic game there against Southampton, which is quite an annoying one. Another win against Chelsea. Definitely had Chelsea's number this save. But as you can see, it's definitely not flawless. And I always show you guys, I'm happy to show you guys these results on all of them. I'm not hiding anything. But it was good enough to win the Premier League. So I would definitely get downloading it, guys. Definitely try it out, because this has clearly got some type of power over the big teams. As you can see there, an absolute thumping, to be honest, against Tottenham there in what was a 4-1 win. And it's kind of on the spot, you know, we're not going to do any cuts here, but we're instantly going to go ahead and watch this game here against Southampton, just because there's a lot of goals. There's 8 goals in this game, and I want to watch some goals from this Brighton side. So let's go ahead and do it. We'll pause it quickly just to change the camera angle, because I know that you guys do love the TV camera angle. So we'll have that, and let's go and watch it. So it's going to be Casiado into Lamptey on the right-hand side. The width in this system is very good, by the way, guys. Across into Welbeck. He flicks it back, I think, and it bounces eventually to McAllister, who rockets into the left-hand side of the goal. And the amount of chances we created with this as well, they come from all areas of the pitch, all different ways of creating the chances. As that one is just coming from the high press, really. And that's going to be Solly March that hits it from outside of the box and sort of tucks it in past the Southampton goalkeeper. Casiado again in the midfield, pulling strings into Solly March. Bit of pass and play here, then a slightly more direct approach into Danny Welbeck. A wonder ball and a wonder strike. A beautiful bit of composure to chip the keeper first time. And that is going to be 3-0 inside of what was 40 minutes. Another goal here, though. Great set piece from McAllister into Dunk. Something that you're not going to be short of with this system. Set piece goals are going to be your friend. Trust me on that one. McAllister knocks it down. Great first touch back into Danny Welbeck, goes through, slots it into the right-hand side of the goal. And so far, so good. I mean, this is an absolute rampage against Southampton. As you've got Solly March running at you again here, just using the width for the field very well. Always going to be options in the box. In fact, we're going to pause it here so you guys can see. We're going to bring a little bit of analytical side out. This is the commitment to get into the box from the players. You obviously got March, who's 1. You've got 2, 3, 4. You've got 5 players in the box. So you're going to have Welbeck. You've also got McAllister bombing into the box. You've got obviously one of the 4 players bombing in to try and get in this area here. And also Casiado, who is desperate to work his way into the box. Who do you think's going to get the goal? I couldn't have even predicted that. I thought it was going to get squared across, but overall, a great way to get a goal out of that. Obviously, a little bit lucky with the rebound, but the options we had was absolutely incredible. As Lewis Dunk gets another set piece, and as I said, set pieces will bail you out so commonly. If you need a goal, set pieces could be something you can even play for. Danny Welbeck goes through one-on-one here with a wonder ball from Casiado, who plays it, and that is a wonder finish into the left-hand side of the goal. And you've probably seen, I believe, 3 or 4 goals now where they've come from deep areas, and you're going to see why this happens when we break down the tactic, because you're going to see the player roles, and that is exactly what you could expect. Then balls that get played over the top, out wide, they're always going to happen, and they're always so deadly. So guys, we're now going to break down Zerbi's Brighton. If you are enjoying this video so far, be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and do turn on notifications by clicking the notification bell, because this way you're never going to miss when I upload, do a community post, or I say go live. Now we are also on Twitch, so do follow the Twitch in the description. But anyway, let's break down this fantastic tactic. Now, obviously in this video, we've only tested it. We've sort of Brighton's a mid-table side, Sassuolo mid-table side, Shakhtar a favourite in the side, but we didn't test it with a powerhouse team. Do I think this will perform with a powerhouse team? Yes, I think it would absolutely dominate with a powerhouse team. So if you guys are going to test it, let me know how this gets on with a PSG, a Man City, a Bayern Munich, etc, etc, because I do want to know how good and what the limits are with this system. Now, we're going to kick things off with a positive mentality. In possession, you want fairly narrow because you naturally have width anyway. You notice how, how we were playing the ball out wide. I feel if you go into sort of this area here into fairly wide, you're going to be too wide, and it just works really well as fairly narrow. Next up, you want play out of defence because that is Zerbi's style. Overlap left and right. Obviously, great options for the wingers and the fullbacks to make very progressive runs, overlapping each other. You don't have passing directness set to shorter because that is how he plays. You've got a standard tempo, be more expressive, and mixed crosses. Now, a little few things if you guys are chasing a game, you could look to have run at defence. You could possibly up the tempo, get a little bit more intense. Up the tempo, obviously, that's just what it says on the tin. Just get in their faces, get aggressive, possibly have shoot on sight, etc, etc. One thing which might actually work, and I would have tested, but it's not really his style, would be to have pass into space, because when you see, as you've seen there, we've got two deep line playmakers. When you've got that sort of style about it, it might work really well. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute to the fullbacks and throw it long. Out of possession, you want a standard defensive line, a high press line of engagement, more often prevent your goalkeeper distribution and get stuck in. On this page alone, if you are possibly picking up too many bookends, let's widen you up. You can definitely look to get stuck in off. In terms of if you're defending a game, you could look to lower the defensive line. If you're looking to chase a game, you could up at once, not much higher, to higher, and that will just push all your team up, get a little bit more, of a hard job for the other team to sort of maintain the ball, because you're going to be constantly in their face. Now, going over to the player roles, and there's a lot of different player roles, so do pay attention. The whole point of this tactic, by the way, which I really love, is going to be this area here. Having two deep line playmakers is something which is pretty common sense if you're making a Zerbi tactic, right? I mean, you need to have, in my opinion, when you watch Brighton play, it looks that. If you had to sum it up, that would be the role. Possibly one DM, possibly one deep line playmaker. But in my opinion, not a DM, sorry, a box-to-box. But in my opinion, two deep line playmakers do suit it down to a T. And we're going to start things off with a sweeper keeper on defence. Take fewer risks. The right back is going to be a fullback on attack, sit narrower, cross more often and get further forwards. On the left, we've got a fullback on attack, sit narrower, cross more often and get further forwards. Two centre-backs now both on defend, pass it shorter, stay wider, take more risks and hold position. And on the right-hand side, it is going to be exactly the same. And the reason why they are on both of these, by the way, both of the centre-backs are on stay wider, are because both full-backs are going to be progressive. They're going to push up the field. So, if you imagine your back four here, you take the two wide ones, they both push up the field. Your centre-backs do need to drift out wide to cover those areas. We then have two midfield players, two deep line playmakers, one on defend, more direct passes. This is the one that really will ping the balls over the top. This is the area Sassuolo was playing in, so then balls that were getting played over instantly were all from him. Tackle harder, shoot less often, dribble less and hold position. And then next to him, another deep line playmaker, but this one on support. Having two defensive ones is too defensive. Having two supportive ones, I just felt was a little bit too weak. On this one, support, tackle harder, shoot less often, take more risks and hold position. Now, the wingers in this team, we've got an inverted winger on the left-hand side on support. Get further forwards, sit narrower, close down more, dribble more, cut inside with the ball. On the right-hand side, we've got an inside forward on attack on support. What am I on about? I was looking at the advanced playmaker there. On support, sit narrower, dribble more, cut inside with the ball, take more risks, cross less often, and get further forwards. And now we have an attacking player, the advanced playmaker on attack, shoot less often, dribble more, take more risks. For those who are probably going to ask, yes, you could also have an attacking midfielder. Yes, you could possibly also have a shadow striker. So if you have got more comfortable players in those areas, you definitely could use or look to exploit that. We then have a pressing forward, again, fairly common sense if you are trying to replicate the Zerbi system. On attack, shoot more often, move into channels, close down more, and tackle harder. But because I can already see it, for those that are asking, you could have an advance forward in this area, but it's just not going to be as Zerbi-like, is the way I'd like to describe it. And that is going to be the tactic broken down, guys. As I always like to say, you guys can download this tactic from the FM Scout website. It's completely free, and if you guys do want to show some support without having to spend anything, it's very simple. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and do turn on notifications. And as I have banged on a lot of this video, we are now also going to be streaming on the purple platform. Don't know if YouTube like me saying it too much. You know what I mean. But if you do want to support me, you can go over and follow that for next week's live streams. But that's going to be it for me today, guys, and I will see you in the next one.